On behalf of the La Palma Cerritos branch of the American Association of University Women, welcome to this forum for the candidates for the Cerritos City Council. I am Harriet Moses, administrator of the branch, and I'm pleased to welcome everyone in the audience here and at home to our forum this evening. A special thank you to the Cerritos City Council for allowing us to use their chambers and also for providing the televised broadcasts and rebroadcasts of this forum. We also thank the City Hall personnel for their help with the arrangements. The American Association of University Women is a national organization of over 170,000 men and women, college graduates and students, and other supporters. AAUW seeks to advance equity for women and girls through advocacy, education, philanthropy, and research. There are no barriers to full participation in AAUW on the basis of gender, race, creed, age, sexual orientation, national origin, disability, or class. Membership is open to all graduates from an accredited college or university. AAUW values and seeks a diverse membership. AAUW seeks to inform and educate its members and the general public about the positions of candidates on issues of importance to AAUW and the community. It takes the positions on issues after careful study and determination of how they fit within the AAUW public policy program. This forum has been ongoing since 1984 and is presented as a public service by the La Palma Cerritos branch of AAUW. Thank you again to the Cerritos City Council for providing this broadcast tonight. The forum will be rebroadcast at 10 a.m. Wednesday, February 5th, 7 p.m. Saturday, February 8th, 11 a.m. Monday, February 10th, and 7 p.m. Tuesday, February 11th. The timing has changed a little from the announcements that I had made to the candidates, so I will reiterate. For the opening and closing statements, you will have 90 minutes, but our timers will tell you when we have 90 seconds. Hello. The timers will tell you when you have 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. And for the questions, they will let you know when you have 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. At this time, I am pleased to introduce tonight's moderator, Tomi Bama, who will introduce the candidates and present the rules and procedures for this forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Harriet. And welcome to everyone here in the City Council chambers and watching at home. I'm pleased to moderate the La Palma Cerritos AAUW Forum for candidates for the Cerritos City Council. For those in the council chambers, please place your cell phones on silent. 8 candidates are here. I think it's 7 candidates are here to present their positions and answer your questions this evening. They are Adrian AAUW, Jennifer Hong, Howe, Ricky Wynn, Esther is not here, Riaz Surte, Mark Polito, Rocky Pavone, and Pat Ashok Patnick. Sophia C. is not available tonight. The format of this evening's forum will be as follows. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for their opening remarks. Each candidate will be notified at the 1 minute, then at 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. Following those remarks, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the question prepared by our AAUW Public Policy Committee. The candidates have that question on the dais in front of them. After those responses, candidates will spend approximately 1/2 hour responding to written questions from the audience. Each candidate's response will be limited to 1 minute. After the audience questions, each candidate will have 90 seconds for closing remarks with the same time limits. 2 AAUW branch members will be timing the candidates. As I had said, candidates will be notified when they have 30 seconds left, 10 seconds left, and when time has expired. When candidates are shown the stop card, they will be allowed to briefly finish their sentence. The order of opening remarks has been determined by a draw. The candidates will deliver their closing remarks in reverse order from the opening. For both the AAUW and audience questions, I will rotate among the candidates as to which one answers first. If you have a question for the candidates, please raise your hand and one of our AAUW members will give you a card on which to write the question. When you are done, hold up the card so that it can be collected. You may direct your question to one or more specific candidates or to all candidates. If the respondent is not specified, all candidates will be asked to answer the question. Duplicate questions will be eliminated, as will questions of a personal or inappropriate nature deemed not germane to a person's candidacy. Please write clearly and please keep your questions short and to the point. Now let us hear from the candidates. The first speaker is Riaz Surti. Riaz has been a Cerritos resident since 1979. He has been an entrepreneur and is now the owner of Healthy Foods. He has served on the Cerritos Economic Development Committee as commissioner and chairman.
Hi, everyone. My name is Riaz Surti. Does the timer start now? When does the timer start? Okay, good. All right. Okay. Hi, my name is Riaz Surti. I want you to know about 4 things about me. One is I grew up in Cerritos. I came to Cerritos in 1979. I went to Stowers, Carmenita, Cerritos High School. Okay, my kids went to Stowers, Carmenita, and Whitney. My son and my daughter went to Carmenita. Okay, and then they both went to Berkeley. My 2 kids. Okay, and when I was 16 years old, I started working at Kentucky Fried Chicken Artesia Carmenita, and around 18, I became. I told my dad that the store was for sale. Can you please buy it for me? And he purchased that for me. Okay, and then I guess the third thing I want you to know about me, I'm the chairman of. I used to be the chairman and commissioner of Economic Committee. And the last thing, okay, time's up. Okay,
Thank you. Next is Adrian Ayub.
Hello, my name is Adrian Oscar. My name is Adrian Oscar.
Adrian's parents met at Gar High School. He has lived in Cerritos for 27 years and has committed to the community to strengthen law enforcement, local businesses, engage residents, and finding responsible solutions to housing.
Hello, I'm Adrian Oscar Ayub. I'm a lifelong resident of Cerritos who just celebrated his 28th birthday yesterday. I'm the first individual of Lebanese Mexican heritage to run for office, and I'm a champion for diversity and inclusivity in our beloved Cerritos. Both my parents met at GAR, which I attended before graduating from Cerritos High School. And I followed in my father's footsteps, built a career in real estate, founded a real estate investment company, weathered the storm during COVID. I founded the Cerritos Real Estate Investment Association to assist in the 21 to 29 housing element. And I've been a consultant to brokers and investors, showing that you don't have to be old to be wise. Playing beyond business, sports has played a major role. I wrestled for Cerritos High School and Cerritos College, sport where once you do it, everything in life is easy. I won a world championship in jiu-jitsu, Rito titles in judo, and I value that we live in a health-conscious city. I've dedicated my life to service as a Rotarian, Toastmaster, Knight of Columbus, and soon to be in the Friends of First CEB and Optimist Club. I'm ready to take that same dedication to public service. I'm running for a faith, family, future, and to put the residents first of Cerritos. I understand the challenges and opportunities our city faces, and I love Cerritos more than anyone else, and that's why I'm willing to give the rest of my 20s in service to, as Councilmember Barrows said, the greatest city in the world. Thank you.
We will now hear from How Ricky Wynn. Ricky is a 22-year resident and 30-year employee of the city of Cerritos, working with leadership to enhance the infrastructure, services, and quality of life.
Hi, I'm Ricky Quinn. I'm a 22-year resident, and I've worked with the city for 30 years. My life has revolved around Cerritos for a while. My kid grew up in Cerritos. My first job was at Fedco in Cerritos, so I'm sure you guys remember that. And I have a unique insight into how the city is run, and that no other candidates has. And I plan to use that knowledge to drive a real change and improve the quality of life for all. Thank you.
Next is Jennifer Hong. Oh, Mark Polito. So much for iPads. Okay, Mark Polito was a former Cerritos mayor for 2 terms and council member from 2011 to 2020, as well as 3 terms as board member of the ABC Unified School District.
Thank you very much, Toby. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here with all of you tonight. It's good to see all of you who took time out of your busy schedules to come out and to get informed about all the candidates tonight, this important election. It's an honor for me to come back and be a part of this important democratic process. I want to say thank you to the City of Cerritos for electing me previously in 2011 and 2015, and for the distinct honor to be able to serve as the city's mayor in 2014-15 and 2018-19. This has been my hometown for 52 years. My parents brought me and my siblings here when I was 3 years old. I was born next door in Bellflower at the Kaiser there. I was born there because my dad came to work here when it was still Dairy Valley, working for Caltrans to help build that 605-91 interchange. He was a civil engineer for the state of California. That good job and my mom's hard work also helped raise me and my siblings. And I'm proud that my wife, Gloria, and I, married 25 years now. We met here in Cerritos in high school. We're able to raise our family. Our daughter, Malia, I just graduated from Cal State Long Beach, and our son is a sophomore at Whitney High School. I'm really looking forward to this event tonight to discuss and share our ideas, and also to the campaign ahead. I respectfully ask for your vote. Thank you.
Next is Ashok Patnaik. Pat has been a commissioner for the city of Cerritos, serving in different functional areas, coupled with 5 years as an oversight committee member for bond measures.
Good evening, everybody. And first of all, I want to thank AAUW for hosting this event. And I also want to thank everybody who has assembled here and all the viewers who are watching us. And a little bit about myself. I'm a mechanical engineer, earned my MBA from Pepperdine University. I've been living in this city for over 26 years, living in the area for more than 40 years as such. They say that I'm one of the longest serving commissioner. I still serve as the commissioner for the city of Cerritos. 15 years on the trot without any gaps. Currently, I'm the Parks and Recreation Commissioner for 7 years. Prior to that, I was with the Safety Committee for 2 years, and previous to that, 6 years with Economic Development. I also serve on the Cerritos City College Bond Measure Committee, so I do have a fiduciary responsibility there. I was a visiting professor at DeVry University. I taught business courses for almost 5 years. Currently, I'm a banker in the city of Cerritos, and I provide SBA fundings to small business entrepreneurs and to small businesses in and around the city. What I want to ask is, respectfully and very humbly, I would like you to please vote for me in the ensuing elections. Thank you very much.
Next, we will hear from Jennifer Hong.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jennifer Hong. I would like to thank the AAUW for hosting tonight's Cerritos Council Candidate Forum. I'm extremely humble and honored to be a candidate for the Cerritos City Council. I've lived in Cerritos for 39 years with my husband, William, where I built my business and raised my families. I love Cerritos and enjoy public services. For many years, I have served on various community organizations and city commissions, including the very important one, the Cerritos City Planning Commission. I've been on the Planning Commission for 3 years. I'm running for the City Council so that I can be your voice and advocate for a better quality of life for all residents. I promise to listen to my fellow residents and advocate for each and every one of you. I believe in working together, and then when elected, I will push to build consensus with my council colleagues and work with the talented staff to deliver on my campaign commitments of increasing public safety, accelerating street repairs, trimming or repairing more trees, and expanding programs for all of our residents, especially for our seniors. Thank you very much for your timing.
The final opening speaker is Rocky Pavone. Rocky has been married for 33 years to his wife, Patty, while raising 2 wonderful children, living, schooling, working, and serving the Cerritos community for more than 40 years.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here, present. I know you could be doing other things, but thank you for your presence. It shows that you are caring and concerned about the community. My name is Rocky Pavone. I am a loving, caring, passionate, God-driven servant leader and financial educator. Your safety is my #1 top priority. This is not just political, this is personal. Criminals jumped over our brick wall, smashed the sliding glass door, and stole all of my wife's jewelry, who is present here tonight, including her wedding ring and laptop and iPad. Then the criminals tried to saw off and steal my daughter's catalytic converter. So tonight, I take a strong stand against crime in our community. I am the only candidate endorsed by Mel Cortez who is very adamant about reducing the crime in our neighborhoods. I take a stand tonight for everyone who's been burglarized, robbed, larceny theft, grand theft auto, or seniors who have been abused mentally, physically, or financially. Also for the students who've been bullied in school. I've taught in the schools. I've taught at Whitney. I've taught at Cerritos. I've taught at GAR. I've taught at the schools. I know what's going on in the schools. And so enough is enough. My plan is to install security surveillance cameras at every entry point in the neighborhoods so we can catch these criminals. We know exactly who's coming in and who's coming out. We're going to reduce the crime in our neighborhoods, and I want to be able to also repair the streets and the sidewalks, because that also is a safety concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to clarify that the bios that I read were submitted by the candidates. Next, we will proceed with the AAUW question. And we will begin with Adrian Ayub. You'll have 1 minute. All of the candidates will have 1 minute. This is the question. Some California cities have proposed establishing parent committees to review and eliminate children's books from their libraries that do not agree with their personal beliefs. Would you support such action or leave book selection up to the city library staff?
Regarding every issue, as a Christian, I put faith and family first. So I believe in the importance of parent involvement. So in the past, I might have not supported outright bans, but just the way the times are, I believe that it's important to allow the families to make informed decisions. And the library staff should collaborate with the community. Public libraries should serve the interests of the families that they represent. So if there's materials that conflict with the family's beliefs, I do believe that they should be able to have some involvement, and families should be able to control the content that their children read.
Next is How Ricky Win.
I feel we should leave the book selection up to the city staff. You as a parent have to decide and be involved in your child's life and know what they're involved in, know what they read. So raise them right, and then they'll read what you want them to read. Thank you.
Mr. Paluto?
Thank you. I believe in parent input for suggesting books that they'd like to see in the library, but I don't believe in any form of censorship in a public agency like the City of Cerritos. I don't really believe that people's personal beliefs should be imposed upon the entire city by eliminating books that have been duly selected by our exceptional city staff. I think that parents could guide their children in their own way by helping their own children to select books. But I don't believe that's good public policy for the city of Cerritos.
Mr. Patnick?
Yes, I think that there should be a combination of things. I don't agree that the parents should really influence the library and say which books to keep and which books not to keep. Because if some parents feel that certain books contravene their religious belief or whatever beliefs, there could be other sets of parents that would have an opposite view as such. So I think what needs to happen is maybe like there should be a series of meetings, maybe a couple of meetings, and see what those issues are. And then based on that, a determination should be made whether the views are correct or not. So I kind of stand very neutral as far as this is concerned.
Ms. Hong? Could you
Hello.
please hold your applause in view of the limited time we have for the forum? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to say my point is to listen to all the residents. So even including this question, I would like to leave it to the parents' decision because, Cerrito is a very, very unique city. We have all the diversity of different races, different culture, different beliefs. So I think we should leave to the parents to decide it because if we leave it to the city library staff, what we know, what we stuff could be very, they have their own opinions. So it doesn't mean their opinions representing all the residents' parents' opinions. So I like to have a meeting together, but personally, I would not leave it to the city library staff decision. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
Yes, I actually see this as a very easy question to answer. Parental guidance is very important for everyone to know what your child is learning. And so therefore, I figured it's so easy. Why not basically get the parents together and decide on a rating system for the books, just like we have for movies. We have G-rated, PG-rated, we have PG-13, we have R-rated and X-rated, right? So also video games. We go from kids to mature. So why aren't books having a rating system of some sort so that we basically can make sure that those children are reading the material that's apt for their age, making sure that there's an actually some type of committee that would be together with the library staffs and the parents' involvement to be able to develop some type of rating system would be an ideal opportunity for us to really make sure that our children are being educated in the way that we want them to for the future. Thank you.
The next question is. Oh, sorry. Mr. Go ahead.
I believe that that books should that people, I think parents should monitor their kids and make sure that they manage their life. And I also think that the library should have the civil liberty or the liberty to get the books that they think that's beneficial for the library. And I do believe that, but there are exceptions to that rule, like every rule. If it's something that's like 3 and under or 4 and under, I think those books should be limited and not be exposed to those children of those age.
Thank you. The next question is for all of the candidates. If you are elected to the Cerritos City Council, what would you change in the city? And we will begin with Mr. Nguyen.
Well, I've worked for the city for 30 years, so I have some insight on that. The list is long. That's part of the reason why I'm running. I disagree with some of the administrative decisions that's been made. So, including how we spend our budget and how we spend for reserve. I'm trying to preserve the reserve for long term. So, that's it.
Mr. Polito?
Thank you, Toby. If I'm honored to receive the support of the voters and return to the city council, what I'd like to see is a change in the city to refocus its efforts on reinvesting in our city infrastructure, our streets, sidewalks, our trees and so forth. I believe that we have gotten a little off since I had left. And I'd like to see a reinvestment in the public works budget because this is where our families are raised, right in the neighborhoods, right, on our streets. So I'd like to reprioritize the infrastructure in our neighborhoods, and then second to that, arterial streets, because we are part of a greater region, and we have a lot of people who come here to shop and dine and recreate. So we're not just a city of about 50,000 people. It increases during the work week and so forth. So I believe our arterial streets need tender loving care also. Thank you.
Yeah, I think very great question. In fact, I had a couple of meetings with our city manager, who himself I think is a great guy, and we discussed the need for actually reinvesting back into the city. We got $80 million, $80 million. Potholes are in very dreaded condition, right? You drive on the streets, The potholes are really bad. You can't even see the number of your home, 11942. I can't see that. We are doing door knocking. We can't see the numbers, right? That has to be done. I also want to make sure that the overgrown trees are trimmed. What happens if there is a senior folk going below the tree, something falls on him or her? That's really disastrous for us. So I think we need to really do something as far as the trees are concerned. And lastly, in the wake of all these natural disasters, we need to make sure that the fire hydrants are working. Fire hydrants are working. Thank you very much.
Ms. Hong?
Okay, this is a great question. First of all, I would like to, when I get elected, I want to balance and the budget, and also knowing how the budget goes, because that's very important. And I also want the budget to be transparent to all the residents. The city should overhaul the city website so all the residents can get involved, knowing what the budget, where the money goes, and how we're gonna manage our budget, because we need those budget to fix our infrastructures, and we have to do the crime rate that's going up. We have to have enough budget to fix the safety of the city. And I also like to increase the business development to bring better business e-commerce companies to our city to increase our revenue for the city, sales revenue for the city. And that's my goal. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
Yes. Prior to this meeting tonight, Mel actually showed us the burglaries are outrageous in this city. So first and foremost, safety first. Most of you probably received my brochure already in the mail. I sent it out to everyone. First one is that enough is enough. Rocky will fight for your safety. I will fight for your safety. And the number two, rebuild Cerritos. I want to cut down every single damaging tree out there that's been damaging our properties and our streets. I want to cut that down, and I also want to repair the sidewalks and the streets. Within the next 4 years, I want to reinvest over $100 million. So you can hold me to that. I want to reinvest $100 million back into our city to rebuild Cerritos. And the second thing is, or the last thing is, that I am the only Cerritos City Council candidate who has 30 years plus licensed experience in financial management. So I know how to get the numbers together so we can be able to rebuild Cerritos. Thank you.
Mr. Surtees?
My first priority is to address the crime issue. I think that's really, I know on the west side there are three burglaries that happened back to back the last 3 days, and I think that's pretty awful. I know that when your house gets violated, you feel violated as well. So I would definitely try to address that. And the way to address that is, of course, fund the police department, fund the sheriff department. The second is to also get more patrolling in the area. Okay, and the third is to get more cameras and license plate readers in the area, and also have a policy or a culture of when a resident sees a suspicious activity or feels unsafe, that they should have the ability to call the police without any fear and without any reprisal. That way, things can get addressed. Okay, and the last thing is that I think we need to do an analysis of where crimes are happening and be able to do some analytics and predictive models to prevent crime from happening in those areas.
Mr. Ayub?
I would seriously reduce the crime by passing Resolution Ayub, which designates Cerritos as a non-sanctuary city, and that's a sanctuary from the state's failed policy, which allows our law enforcement to cooperate with federal agencies to solve the problem once and for all. I would also, through the Cerritos Real Estate Investment Association, facilitate and implement the housing element. Everywhere I go, the elders say, how can the young people afford units? We need to attract and retain a skilled young workforce, add more residential units to the tax roll. It would revive the Chamber of Commerce, be an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce. To deal with the added units, we'd have to update the sewage system, diversify our energy, needs. I would establish a young adults committee, and I would swear to oppose the forces or elements of nepotism, cronyism at every turn.
The next question, excuse me, Mr. Hun? I thought you were. Yeah. I got everyone. I got everyone. Okay. Thank you. The next question submitted by the audience. Do you support Cerritos City employees and their union AFSCME? And we will start with Mr. Pulido.
Thank you, Toby. Yes, I fully support our outstanding Cerritos City employees represented by the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 619, and also District Council 36. I'm proud to be endorsed by them. They have always endorsed me and stood by me in every single election from 2015 when I first got elected in 2011 and 2015. And I'm proud of that because each and every single day they come to work and they are here to help our community, whether at the senior center, at the parks, at the library, in City Hall, in the water department, at the corporate yard, at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts. Each and every day they're here putting their heart and soul into the work, and they have pride in the work that they do. And they're a big part, an unsung part of why Cerritos is so great. And I thank them once again.
Mr. Pat.
It's me? Okay. Absolutely, I support the workers' union. I have also been proudly endorsed by them. And in my previous life, I used to manage a workshop, a manufacturing unit where I had workers. And workers are a bedrock to any development, whether it's to an industry or at a city level. And what I also want to do is apply some of the management techniques, such as quality circles, engage the workers with various things along with the management as such. And I guarantee you there'll be more throughput as far as the workers are concerned. So I fully support them. Thank you very much.
Hi, okay. I've never been a union member, but my husband was one of the union member. And so as a perspective from my experience as the owner of a business, I actually think a happy employee is very important for the company, and I treat the city as a company as well. If we have a happy employees, they will work harder for the city. So I think we should bring their salary up to the market rate. And I also want to propose to send them out for more training or seminar, so that way they would know to improve their own knowledge. That way also benefits our city. So I think if I got elected, I would do my best to work with them, and I totally support them as well. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
Yes, I absolutely support the city employees and the union as well. And the reason being is because I do have experience being a member of the union, Local 660, when I was actually working for Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services in the homeless division. My job was to get the homeless people off the streets, giving them welfare aid and benefits and food stamps so they can restart their lives. So definitely it saved my job, because when I was a newlywed back then, when my kids were very young, it saved me from losing my job because we did have to go on strike in order to keep our jobs. So I do see that there is value, so that, especially public employees, local servants can make sure that they can be able to support their families and be able to have a brotherhood and sisterhood in the unions. Thank you.
Mr. Surti?
I've been supported by the city union, the AFSCME Local 619. I also been supported by ALADS, the Association of Los Angeles Sheriffs, and I've also been endorsed by the fire union, okay, the Los Angeles County Firefighters Local 1014. So I support all these unions, and I think they offer a benefit to our city.
Mr. Ayub?
Hello, yes. Some of my relatives have actually worked for the city of Cerritos as well as the county of Los Angeles. So I think that everyone does their role equally. But as I said before, it's not that I'm anti-establishment, I'm just pro-resident. And some individuals, some of my supporters who feel just both federally and locally, the administrative state has grown very big and sometimes at the cost of other areas. So like I said, I'm not inherently opposed to union. I just want to bring back a culture of positivity towards the residents, towards service, knowing that the workers are there to help the residents. That's where they get their paycheck from. So I believe that, you know, everyone does their part, but again, I'm very pro-resident first.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes, I do support the union. I know most of the people in the union at Cerritos. I work with them and for a long time at the Senior Center, Art Center, and I've seen them work hard and go above and beyond their duties. So I would definitely support them. Thank you.
Our next question from the audience is for all candidates. If and when Measure J fails, will you commit to moving the election date back a few months to have a consolidated election date, taking a few months off your term, not adding to it? And we will begin with Mr. Patnick.
Absolutely. I mean, it shouldn't have changed in the first place, right? I mean, it should have been along with the presidential election during the even years as such. And, you know, what is happening now is when you have the election now, I guess it is for everybody here, the daylight is so short. It's not fair to the residents to know who we are. So I think it is absolutely imperative that we move the election back to the even year. I don't mind sacrificing those 3 to 4 months just for the sake of the residents, because when you have it in the even year, you're going to have more voter turnout, more residents will go and vote during the election. That's my stance. Thank you.
Ms. Hong?
Okay. My opinion about this one is like, okay, it's up to the resident to decide which one you want. I personally like to go with the prime election together. Like, you know, we can save the cost for the city, and also we will have a better turnout. But if the residents decided to extend it to the odd year, and I think the council should leave those months out without, you know, getting involved, because I think that's the way how it is, because otherwise they just, you know, it's a long term and it's not, you know, it's not fair for the city. I think personally I would prefer to have it back to the even years election. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
I agree with whatever the public majority would agree with. In terms of the voting, you have a voice, I will hear your voice, and I will honor your voice as the public. So yes, I would go ahead, and if the public decides to move it back, I totally agree with that, and that is what the public wants to do. That's what shall be done. There is one very important thing that needs to be evaluated, because I've heard both sides of the story. Some may say that the LA County election, us doing it at the same time of the LA County election, would be less expensive than the city doing it. Others say that if the city does it, it's less expensive than LA County. So I truly would like, because I'm a numbers guy, I truly would like to know the true numbers so that you, the voters, can decide wisely in terms of financially which would be the most effective way, cost-effective way, to be able to have an election so that you could be able to come out and vote? Thank you very much.
Mr. Surtees?
I'm in favor of keeping the elections at the same time as the general elections. Okay, and I'm not in favor of moving. I think it's an issue of voter suppression when you change the dates and have off-cycle elections. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub? Mr. Ayub?
Well, I'm in favor of what the majority of residents would want if 6 out of 10 agreed with it. But just being in the neighborhoods all day, every day, it does appear that there's some confusion, some election exhaustion, after the last national election. So I think I would be open to giving up some months of the term so it can coincide with an even year election.
Mr. Nguyen?
I would go with whichever way is more cost effective for the city. I'm pretty sure it's going back to the general election with November. So that's where I'm heading.
Mr. Polito?
Thank you, Toby. I reject Measure J. I'm publicly opposed to it. So for the question, what would I do if it passes? I would do everything I could before it passes to defeat it, because I reject what the majority on the council did in order to move our elections to odd years. What this effectively did was take our turnouts from 80% in an even year to less than 20%. So that basically is, I believe, undemocratic and un-American. So I encourage every Cerritos voter to reject Measure J. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for our next question, which again goes to all candidates. Would you agree to return the closing park hours to the 9 p.m. pre-COVID time? And we will begin with Ms. Hong. Would you agree to return the closing park hours to the 9 p.m. pre-COVID time?
I think I would agree.
Microphone.
Yes, I agree to extending the hours before COVID-19, because I think we have to back our life into normal. And I think we have a lot of residents, they need this kind of service. So I do agree with it. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Yeah.
Rocky?
Yeah, it's you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, I would agree with it. We have beautiful parks in our city, and they're maintained properly to be able to be used by the residents whenever they would like to during, of course, normal hours. Yes, I would agree to go ahead and extend those to 9 p.m. pre-COVID hours, because I know that there are individuals who get home late from work who possibly might want to use the park before they go home. Maybe to exercise, walk, or do some kind of sporting event at the park before they go home to shower and get ready for the next day. So yes, I agree with opening the parks to 9 p.m. Thank you.
Mr. Surtees?
I am also in favor of extending the hours to 9 p.m. And the reason why is because I think the more we have people enjoying our parks and doing outdoor activities, I think it's better for our society. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub?
Yes, my uncle Jesse actually worked in Parks and Rec, and they're just such amazing parks at night. I would favor extending it to the pre-COVID time.
Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, I would agree with extending it, but let's address that the rec staff is short-staffed right now. So before we can extend the hours, we need to get the staff up to par and full so we can man the parks. And opening a park later might address that pickleball issues for more people being able to play pickleball.
Mr. Polito?
Thanks, Toby. I absolutely support returning the park hours to pre-pandemic hours to expand opportunities for our residents and our visitors. It's not just residents, but people love to come to Cerritos too. But I want to do it even better. I want to make sure that if we extend the hours to 9 p.m., that our parks are safe. So I know that right now we have added residential patrols, but they're only on limited hours. I would like to see 24/7 patrols to make sure that our neighborhoods are safe, and also we could recreate, exercise, and stay fit by playing at the park, by exercising and walking in a safe manner. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick?
Well, as a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, this was discussed many times, right? What are we known for? We are known for the great parks, 24 parks, right? City of Cerritos. And with, we just have 6 courts for pickleball. Now they wait in line, right? So when we expand the hours to 9 p.m., a lot of folks will have the opportunity and ability to play pickleball and other sports like tennis, go for walking. So I think we should bring the park back to the normal hours up to 9 p.m. Of course, we have to make sure that we size the resources so that everybody is in a safe environment. So I strongly support that we have the hours up to 9 p.m. In Cerritos. Thank you.
Our next submitted question from the audience: do you think it would be feasible to vote by district or at large in the city of Cerritos? And we will begin with Mr. Pavone.
You know, you'll never know what it's like unless you walk the whole city as a candidate. Absolutely, I think that looking at voting by districts might be a great idea to be able to reach more of our community that live locally. I believe in one of the previous elections, I walked into about 4,000 homes, but to walk to every single home in the city is almost impossible unless you're starting maybe 6 months earlier. So voting by district would be a lot easier as a candidate, Cerritos City Council candidate, and it might be something to look into. Voting at large and trying to reach every single citizen is nearly impossible to have. I don't think any one of us have talked to all of the residents that live here in Cerritos. So it's pretty much impossible to reach every single citizen. But if we did vote by district, it would be much easier for a candidate to walk their entire precinct. Thank you.
Mr. Surtees?
I'm in favor of at large because I think the city council represents everyone in the city. And I've been walking different districts from the west side to the east side, okay? And I find that there are some areas of Cerritos that they feel that they're disengaged and they need a representation. So as a city councilor, I believe in representing every house and every citizen in the city. And I think that it's better that we see every part of the city and be able to manage every part of this, every aspect of the city. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub?
Yes, I'm in favor of by district. One concerned resident said he believes that when we have at-large election, it allows certain groups to kind of dominate the political scene. So everything else is by district. I remember Gupta and Hong coming to my house when they were campaigning for when Gupta was for the school board. And so I think it could be possible to have it for city council as well.
Mr. Nguyen?
All inclusive. Well, I feel that we are a voice of all the residents. So just have to represent all the residents, not just what your neighborhood is.
Mr. Polito?
Thank you, Toby. I support district elections because elections in Cerritos are expensive. And if they're expensive for everyday residents who want to come and serve, then we're only getting a limited options from the talented pool in our community. There are a lot of people who would love to serve, but it's extremely expensive. And it's, you know, when you're competing against people who can self-fund, that's one. But then also the rising postage costs to mail to 15,500 households. If you divide it by 5, then you can see, you could scale it down. It could be a little bit more affordable for everyday residents who want to give and want to serve right here a chance. So I support it. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick?
I absolutely support the district by district, not by large. 8.9 square miles, 15,500 homes. Within 3 months, how many can you really cover? I've been knocking, door knocking, talking. I've covered just maybe 2,000. There are some areas in city of Cerritos where the guy said, hey, you're the first candidate to come and see me in the last 41 years because this is at the edge of Lakewood. Nobody goes there, right? So I'm in absolute support of having district-wise candidate so that we represent them very well as such. So thank you again. That was a great question, by the way.
Ms. Hong?
Yes. I think this is a very interesting question because I've noticed like a bigger city like Irvine or a bigger area city, they always do by district. Cerritos is like about 50,000 residents, and we have about 14,000 household. So we are kind of in between. But if we're going to represent a city, I think at large is important because that would give all the voters a chance to vote, elect who they want. But if, again, I want to listen to the residents' voice, I want residents to decide it, and maybe if I get elected, I will collaborate and working with my council colleagues to make some decision for this subject. But I'm open to both ways. Personally, I prefer a large. Thank you.
Our next question from the audience. How would you address alarming rise in residential break-ins and burglaries? And we will start with Mr. Surti.
Like I said earlier, that I think that the biggest challenge in our city is the crime. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to fund the sheriff department, do a better job with that. Second is we need to get more volunteers, forgive me, not volunteer, we need to get more paid sheriffs to come in and patrol the area better. Okay, and third thing we need to do, we need to do a better job with making sure that we add cameras to every parts of the city. Okay, and the fourth thing is that we should have a culture of not being afraid to call the police for any reason, even if you see suspicious activity. And the fifth thing is that we have to do a better job with doing analytics of where crime is happening and how to prevent those crimes from happening in those areas. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub?
Designate Cerritos a non-sanctuary city. Allow for the formation of community councils, or as my Filipino friends and colleagues know, as the barangay system, that would allow them to gate themselves in their community. We're having the metro come down. We're going to have more residential units added. So I think that the communities that are established should be allowed to gate themselves, not just shadow park. And then strengthen neighborhood watch. You know, have volunteers on patrol work to strengthen neighborhood watch, and just expand on the drones and automated license plate readers.
Mr. Nguyen?
This issue should be a collaboration between residents and city. You can't always just count on the sheriff. There's not enough sheriffs to go around. So we have to get everybody involved. You see something, say something. Uh, Residents can the city can buy vests for neighborhood watch that when they walk around, it's just as neighborhood watch. Being visible helps deter the thieves. So another thing is the city should hire more CSO for patrol. Yeah, being visible, that helps for the thieves to, yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Polito?
Thank you, Toby. I think there's a number of things that we could do. First and foremost, as a second generation neighborhood watch block captain, my father before me and then myself, I believe we need to invest in our neighborhood watch block captain program and provide more training opportunities and do outreach and recruitment so that we have a diverse pool of folks in our community helping out. I also believe that, I mentioned it earlier, we need to increase the residential patrols to 24/7. I also believe in the strategic use and appropriate use of drones in order to provide support to those deputy sheriffs, going after the criminals. Also, increased use of automated license plate readers. And the last thing I think we really need to do is we need to expand Skynight, because it used to be several cities in the region that was paying into it, but now it's just Lakewood and Cerritos. And I think it would be great if we all work together within the region among our neighboring cities. Thank you.
Yes, crime is on the rise. We all know that. We had over 200 incidences, break-ins in last year as such. And I have had several meetings with Darrell Evans, great guy, and also with Drew Strong, the captain. I think the institution of, the burglaries, first of all, I think the neighborhood watch started off very good. But when I started walking the areas, it seemed to have waned down. There's no serious attempt being made by the neighbors. I think we need to beef that and fortify that. Then we need to also invest in the ALPR system as such. The drone program that was first muted by about 6 months ago, but nothing has happened. We haven't really started that drone program per se. And also invest in the Southwest Patrol. We have only 3 of them now. I think we should increase that number so that it will serve as a deterrent to the neighborhood folks as such. So these are going to be my initiatives. Thank you.
Okay, my thing about this is, first of all, we have a meeting about this. All the residents participated in the December 2nd, first in December meeting. And the city has already come out a lot of solution of this. The city and the councilmen are trying, the community safety manager and the city councils are trying and working very hard to resolve this issue. Because crime rate in general are rising, and Cerritos considerably, luckily, we are still not the worst part of it. So I think we already know that we already tried to at least 6 months about the ALDPR trailer. That's a good thing. And the security patrol, we have to increase, double, and have 7 days, 24 hours. And also we have to put more funding to support our neighborhood watch. And drone with the skylight helicopter will also help the security issue. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
When I was burglarized back in 2016, I called the sheriff's station, and it took them almost 2 hours to show up to my house. I'm standing on the corner, and I'm saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" And they said, "We're changing shifts." I said, "Well, I want to go in my house and see what's wrong. What's gone?" And they said, "I don't recommend you go in your house because there might be someone in there with a gun." And I said, "If they have a gun, why aren't you here? If there's a potential for a gun, why aren't you here?" And so basically, back then, burglaries were what we call non-priority calls. We've just recently changed that to now priority call, which should have been done a long time ago, because when I first ran in 2020 for this election, that's what motivated me to run, is because I want to protect this city, take Cerritos back from the criminals. And Since 2020, over 1,555 burglaries have happened. So I want to install, once again, surveillance cameras on every entry point of every neighborhood so we know who's coming in and who's going out. We can catch the criminals. Thank you very much.
This is a question that is specific to Mr. Patnick. What are you doing for the development of small businesses in the city of Cerritos?
Well, as you all know, that I do work for a banking institution, and I've had almost 15 years of experience in this particular field. And I think we have a lot of businesses in the Cerritos areas as such, right? Small businesses. And I think there are so many funding opportunities that these small businesses can avail. The SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, SBDC, they're another institution that provides, they kind of provide funding as such. They do business plans. So I intend to bring these agencies to the city and have in every quarter have some kind of seminar or conference as such, so that it will woo the small businesses to take advantage of all the funding opportunities and hence grow the business, and therefore it'll improve the revenue for the city. Thank you.
The next question is for all of the candidates. What is your opinion on term limits? And we will begin with Mr. Ayu.
Well, as an entrepreneur running for city council, I am for term limits. I think the people in America and Cerritos don't want career politicians. I think it's important to allow new, fresh faces, new, fresh ideas, and encourage, just historically, politicians would go into the private sector. For years they might serve. So I would support term limits, and I want to get elected and then, move on to greener pastures. In my life, I always want to be getting to the next level, not trying to come back and just roll over, my hometown.
Mr. Nguyen?
I do support term limits. I've worked here so long. I've seen same council members sometimes for the longest time. It is time for fresh faces and new ideas. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Polito?
On principle, I don't support term limits because we already have them. Every 4 years, the voters get a chance to decide if they want to keep someone or if they want to elect someone new. But in Cerritos, we have term limits. They were instituted quite some time ago. I was subject to them. I would otherwise love to run again, but in 2020, I had to leave at the top of the pandemic. I missed the opportunity to provide leadership in the most difficult time for our city. And that's a good example of what a missed opportunity thanks to term limits. So I urge voters to select wisely your new 3 council members, since 3 decided not to seek re-election. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick?
I absolutely support term limits. New people come in, bring new ideas, fresh ideas. And people who have been forever, three terms, 4 terms, they don't like change. They are so comfortable being in that position. And so therefore I see that people should really look at the merit of the candidate and vote for that candidate, right? I mean, some of us may be first-time candidate here, but doesn't mean that we haven't done things in the past in our professional career. And we bring that to the city as such. We bring that to the residents. So I am for term limits as such. Thank you.
Ms. Hong?
I am also for the term limitation, but I think we still need a 2 terms limitation because, first of all, 4-year term, maybe not the first, for 4 years, there's a lot of vision, a lot of things that the councilman cannot execute. because it takes time to work it out. But I think for 2 years terms, for 8 years, if you cannot perform, then we know you're not qualified to be the council member. So I think 2 terms is good enough for a leader to show his leadership and how they run the city. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
Yes, absolutely, positively, 100% agree with term limits. I believe you get in, get the job done, and then get out. Let some other people in the residence step up with their voice and their ideas, fresh ideas, to be able to serve the community in which they love. And we are all here tonight because we love Cerritos. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. I love Cerritos. This is the best place that we can possibly be on earth. We still have work to do, though. It's a 70-year-old city coming next year. We've got a lot of infrastructure that needs to be rebuilt, and we want to secure our city from criminals. So once again, I'm here to do the job that you are going to give me by voting for me for Cerritos City Council. And I promise you, if I don't get the job done along with the council here, I will not run for re-election. And I'd like to challenge every candidate here tonight if they would like to also agree with me on that. If the job doesn't get done, we don't run for re-election. Thank you.
Mr. Surtees?
Hi, everyone. I also believe in term limits, but I think that if you don't get the job done within 8 years, I think that's a reflection on you, and I think that we should have new people running in office. But I also think that there's a way to every 4 years you get measured for that. So I think I do like that, and so I do believe in term limits, and I think it's better that we keep it that way.
We'll now move to our next question, which is for all candidates. What plans do you have to enhance life for our senior citizens? And we will start with Mr. Nguyen.
We can start by supporting the senior center, hiring the staffs, promoting more programs, and completely funding the senior center. Thank you.
Mr. Polito.
I think we have a great senior center. We have great senior center staff. I'd like to see more resources put into the senior center. I'm obviously a little biased. You know, I'm a senior now, and we are an aging population. Cerritos is the average age is 47, much older than most communities, and we have a dynamic in Cerritos called aging in place. People don't want to move from here. They want to enjoy their golden years here in Cerritos, and so I think it is wise that we invest the increased sales tax that we have generated since I left. Cerritos now generates 12 million more sales tax annually, and I'd like to see it prioritized for senior services. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick.
You know, we have a wonderful senior center, but, you know, looks like we just have one right on South Street. There are folks who live on the edge of La Palma, and some of them just can't, you know, don't want to go as such. And like Mark said, you know, we are an aging, this is an aging population. Folks love to go to the senior center. We need to have additional resources by having additional funding. And the other thing I would like to do, also suggest, is the cow buses, the Cerritos on Wheels. Someone tries to make a phone call and call for a cow bus, it takes 48 hours, for crying out loud. I don't think we should wait for that long to get a bus for someone who wants to go for shopping or something like that. So I think we should have more wheels on the street in terms of the Cerritos on Wheels. And we should have more workshops, more seminars, presentations, and so on and so forth. So that's my take.
Ms. Hong.
Yes, seniors are very important to our city, okay? And that's why we have a beautiful senior center, but it's not enough for all the activities. Especially, I heard the complaints about the program that takes money, and then if you have to pay this and that, it all adds up. And you know, the seniors, most of them are having limited income. So I think the city should consider this, give them more program and more cheaping cost. Also, the transportation is very important because a lot of seniors doesn't have the method of getting to the senior center or going to join the program that they would like. And this is something we have to think about. And also, we propose to have more pickables courts because prevention is very important. If we let everybody started exercising, this is a good prevention, and everybody loves this sports. So I think the city should go for more funding for this. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
I love our seniors. As a financial educator, representative, registered Social Security analyst, I talk to seniors every single week. I teach classes all across Southern California, and I've taught classes here in our senior center as well. I'm a senior advocate. I've seen abuse happen. Important that they learn how to look out for fraud, even from their own family members. I've seen some devastating things. You'd be surprised. And making sure that they are properly planning for retirement, making sure they have a long-term care plan. Long-term care could wipe out you faster than anything else. The costs are so outstanding. And so also with living trust and wills, to educate them how to protect themselves from probate. And that could tie up your assets for 2 to 3 years. So these are all important things that I love to educate seniors about, because with no plan, they end up failing. Thank you very much.
Mr. Surtees?
I think one of the biggest problems with the senior center is that 80 to 90% of seniors don't go there. So I think what we should do is we should have more activities at the park, okay, and even something simple as having tea time at the park, or even having just different events at the park where seniors are going, and encourage walking, and encourage more gatherings at the parks, our local parks. And the second thing is that I would like to advocate a 3K walk, run, or bike, okay, in honor of seniors and Cerritos. Okay, that way we can raise attention and awareness for our seniors. And the third thing is that I think that we should have a volunteer corps to help seniors with their yards, or take out the trash, or some sort of hotline to help them. Okay, and part of that is also having a newsletter that goes out to seniors in our city to help communicate better with them. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub?
Having grown up with my grandparents, I have the utmost respect for our elders. You know, they're the reason why we're here. I would support one issue that many seniors agree with is I believe we need classes at the senior center, young professionals teaching how to utilize technology and apps. As head of Neighborhood Watch, trying to grow the program, sometimes it's difficult installing the WhatsApp app. I also sat in on a closed session. The cow is an issue, so I believe there's an Uber for elderly proposed. I would also have the city have classes on how seniors can access their equity without having to sell their house, such as reverse mortgage, and educating on that. And also, just as my grandparents told me, sometimes seniors are vulnerable to financial crimes. So I would have a hotline, or just education on how to prevent financial crimes for seniors.
Next question is, when the Metro rail line comes to Cerritos Artesia area, it will certainly bring more crime to the area. How will you address the public safety factor? And we'll begin with Mr. Polito.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the Metro coming to this area, but we also have to be wise about how we plan to provide for safety and security. And I think that we have a great sheriff's station. We have great leadership there. We also have a great public safety manager who is on top of it and who is working in coordination with our community leaders who are involved. I think that mix is critical and important. I also think we need to partner well with our neighboring cities like Artesia, because it's going to come through Southeast Los Angeles, and the terminus is going to be in Artesia. And we're a shared community. We're sister cities. We have shared concerns. So I'd like to see better communication coordination with the Artesia City Council and the Cerritos City Council. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick?
You know, I don't think that should be a problem. I think we should be all excited with the fact that the metro is going to be here, right? We have enough time for us to do some advanced planning. We can preempt a lot of things. You know, we have a great sheriff department, great safety officer we have. So I think we try to put everything together and try to find a way to thwart the crime. I think we should be better off. So I don't think it should be a concern at all. I think it gives us enough time for us to prepare for any kind of eventualities as far as the safety is concerned. So that's my take.
Ms. Hong?
Yes, I think this is a problem because I used to work a lot from downtown. I can see the crime going to come over, although I welcome the metro to come over to Artesia. But we cannot overlook at this issue, you know, because we cannot be so innocent. It is a fact. It is going to bring in some crimes because it's very convenient for them to transport to our city. So my solution is we really have to work with our surrounding neighbor cities, including, of course, Artesia, Norwalk, Bellflower. We all have to work together, try to prevent the crime race, you know, in our city. Because if we work together, we can still manage it. So I'm looking forward to the metro to come in, but we have to be prepared for that. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone?
I'm a world traveler. I've traveled to 37 countries around the world. I've traveled to many states across the United States, and I have taken the metro from the Norwalk station to the LAX airport, and I've taken the bus. And the last time that I went, my son noticed a guy who had been dazed and on drugs of some sort and had a knife in his waist. And he said, "Dad, don't look back, but I don't ever want to come on the metro again." This is what is going to happen. We're going to have people coming into the city, so I say no to any station in Cerritos. We already have enough crime. Why do we want to invite more crime? Good question. So I wouldn't mind having the metro come through there, but no station in Cerritos. Thank you.
Mr. Surtees?
I'm very optimistic about the metro. I think it brings in more density of population. I think we're talking about isolated incidents when you have one or two people that, you know, that cause crime, but the majority of people, you know, are good. And I've taken the train from Norwalk to LAX without any issues. I find it very convenient. And also, when there's the Olympics coming and the World Cup is coming to LA, I think we need that population to come to Cerritos as well, do shopping in our area. So I think I look at it as a positive, I look at it as a way to increase more density, and I think it's a way to help our businesses to be more successful.
Mr. Ayub?
Yeah, I believe just speaking to many residents, they express concern over the metro. We know that the crime will go up and the property values will go down. That's why I'm pushing for the formation of community councils that can choose to gate themselves, push for automated license plate readers near those zones, oppose a station in Cerritos. And I believe we're in a battle for the future of the city between our suburban character and the urbanization that's being pushed on us by the county. So I'll side with, we got to preserve people's property values and peace in their communities. And gating or allowing communities to gate themselves is a potential solution for that.
Mr. Nguyen?
I was against the metro coming into Cerritos, that station. But if it's going to be here, we might as well prepare and plan for it with cameras, lighting, or maybe even a sheriff station at the sports complex next to it. Thank you.
The next question is for Mr. Patnick. I think we've addressed some of this. Do you think you can open the senior center until 9 daily and maybe a short day on Saturday? So the difference here has to be about time.
Why not? Actually, this thing is that we should perhaps open up another senior center. There is only one here that provides opportunities for the senior citizens as such. Why not we have something around the swim center as such, with more amenities as such? But as far as increasing the time, I don't see a problem as such. If that suits the seniors, why not?
Okay. The next question is for all. What's your plan to create more jobs and economic opportunities to attract younger residents to the city? And we'll start with Ms. Hong.
This is a very important question because this city is aging and we don't have enough student enrollment for the schools. As a business background, I would like to attract more e-commerce company to come to our city. Some company like Revolve or high-tech company, because if they can pay higher salary, then we can retain a lot of young people that graduate from the excellent school to stay in Cerritos and to live in Cerritos. And this is very important. So we have to not only attract new business to come in, high-tech business coming over, we also have the whole city build up, revitalize the city to attract the young people to stay in our city instead of going to the other city like Irvine or Pasadena or Santa Monica, etc. Thank you.
Mr. Pavone.
Thank you. So I'm affiliated with several organizations in the community. One of them is Celico Workforce Investment Board, and I'm a CCN member there. Also the ABC Adult School Committee, occupations, where we actually look at the trends that are happening in terms of what is the future looking like in the next 12 months, 24 months, or even 5 or 10 years. So very important that we make sure that we're staying at the edge of technology, making sure that we're providing the education that these young people can get an education, get good paying jobs, and be able to stay in Cerritos. Because what we found is a lot of the younger generations, they can't afford to stay in Cerritos. So they end up leaving Cerritos. So in order to retain them, we've got to be able to provide better jobs in Cerritos. So I'd like to see more in the high-tech industry, in the Cerritos Park industrial area, and also attract them through I've been with the city management actually discussing what the potential looks like, and it looks very good. So thank you very much.
Mr. Surtees.
What I like to see is I think we need to make a faster internet for high-tech companies to come to Cerritos. I think that's a really good selling point. Another selling point is make it easy for e-commerce and high-tech companies to come to Cerritos by reducing permit fees and helping them with streamlining their construction costs to make sure that we can attract more businesses in the area. And third is that talk about the centrality of Cerritos, how convenient it is for high-tech companies to work in Cerritos, especially improve the Cerritos Town Center. There's a lot of empty office space there and buildings that are not being used. So I would definitely try to remodel those places, make it more walkable, make it more mixed use, where there may be some shops on the bottom and businesses on top, or even residential on top. So really improve the infrastructure for high-tech companies to come to Cerritos. And I also think that the best thing to do is to bring businesses to Cerritos. It would help it'll help our tax revenue as well.
Mr. Ayub.
Well, as I said before, I believe we just have to oppose nepotism, cronyism, and corruption. I've been to the countries where my family are from, and that's what kind of stifles the economy. We also need to revive the Chamber of Commerce. I think it should have an actual office. It should add more value, more events, and reduce its fees, because only 10% of businesses even belong to the Chamber of Commerce. I believe in cutting regulations and red tape. And we need to break up monopolistic leasing practices that are present in the town center, other places. Beta Agency has all the lease space. Why aren't the local real estate offices getting the lease space at least? We need to provide tax incentives for companies that bring, paying jobs to the city. Investing in the infrastructure and some controlled redevelopment, perhaps some mixed use where we can have skilled professionals, live and work in the same place.
Mr. Nguyen?
We need to modernize the city, and maybe have a nightlife, offer incentives for bigger companies to come to Cerritos. Even maybe offer classes for after school at the library or in the rec department to help to watch the kids while parents work. Thank you.
Mr. Polito?
Thank you, Toby. We need job creation in this city. We need it for the next generation of Cerritos sons and daughters. I grew up here in the 70s and 80s, and my siblings, myself, my cousins, our first jobs were at the Los Cerritos Center at the mall. And that is one of the largest employers here in the city. When I was first mayor, I was proud to help partner with Macerich, the owner of the mall, in order to push for Phase 5 expansion of the mall, which brought us Cheesecake Factory, Harkins Theaters, Dick's Sporting Goods, and many other stores. There is a 20-acre parcel where the old Sears department store is that is laid vacant. We need to create jobs through partnering with the mall in order to have mixed use, housing, new restaurants, new stores, and a new hotel, which would all create jobs. Construction jobs, as well as jobs ongoing for a whole mix of Cerritos residents and residents throughout the region. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick?
Well, when you're a last speaker, everybody steals the thunder, right? So, kind of ditto what everyone has said. We have a huge vacant lot of 20 acres, in next to Sears or former Sears or when Sears used to be there. But we really need to have some kind of nightlife. It's not about employment and trying to find employment opportunities for the younger generation here. I mean, they can work in the neighboring cities as such. But I think for them, Cerritos is not a fun place. That's what they think. I think we should have more nightclubs, bars, restaurants, right in that area as such. And we need to also look at Irvine Spectrum as such, and see what they really offer for these guys to get attracted to go there. So I think we should try and mimic what Irvine does for these youngsters and do the same thing in our city as such, so that we can have all these young people in the city and not going elsewhere. Thank you.
We now have our last question, and this will be for all of the candidates. Where do you propose to find funds for the $90 million sewer system overhaul and other needed infrastructure projects? And we will begin with Mr. Pavone.
Excellent. In preparation for this meeting tonight, I've actually sat down with city management 3 times. And the last meeting I had was regarding the budget and taking a look at, it's about this big. If you've seen the budget, it's about this big. And going line by line through every single page. It's very important to understand financial management. I've actually had experience in both public as actually an elected official for Cerritos College as the ASCC president and student trustee. So I sat there with the board members, and we had a $60 million budget at that time. I've also been doing personal and business financial management for the last 30 years. And basically, I've been able to help thousands and thousands of individuals and business owners. So it's very important to understand how money works, and this is exactly what I teach. So I'm a certified financial educator, and understanding numbers is much easier for me than most candidates running. Thank you.
Mr. Surtee.
I think that when it comes to funding projects like this, I think you have to do a good job with understanding the budget, of course, understanding how money's being used, and try to get the best pricing on services and getting different contractors. But ultimately, what has to happen is a complete analysis of the budget and be able to use those funds to support those projects. And the one thing I learned from my own business is that, ultimately, if you're doing something that's going to better our community, our society, I think money is well spent, because it does help in the long run for our house value and for the quality of life in our city.
Mr. Ayub.
Yeah, as we saw at the candidates meeting, our sales tax is where our revenue comes from, and our sales tax is down because of all of our vacant shops. I would want to increase, the annual sales tax revenue by $5 million within 4 years. We got to offer incentives to bring in, at least 50 new small businesses and major retailers. And I believe we should, we need to bring back real competition on bidding. We need to just oppose nepotism, cronyism, have a competitive bid, and really choose the best deal for that. Because the sewage, I've spoken to many, I even spoke to Barrows last night. Our sewage system hasn't been updated since the city was founded. With a lot more residential units, that's going to be important to get it updated and allocate funds to that.
Mr. Nguyen.
Generally, big projects like that have you can apply for grants. So grants are available. If not, then we have to plan ahead. Maybe do the projects in phases, and maybe you can cut some from somewhere else. Thank you.
Mr. Polito.
Thank you, Toby. First thing that we need to do is we need to go to the budget. And I want to thank Councilmember Franco Aurelio Yokoyama for loaning this to me. We're trying to save trees. In the back, in the yellow pages, is the capital improvement program. And that is where the city plans over a 5-year period how it's going to reinvest in the infrastructure. I talked about this earlier tonight about reinvesting in the infrastructure. That's inclusive of our aging sewer system. So there's already a financial plan in our budget. But when I first got elected in 2011, I was wondering why were everyone's complaining about the trees? How come the trees were overgrown? Well, the first thing I did, I went through the budget and I found several years back, right when the recession hit, the Great Recession in 2008, they cut by $1 million from the Public Works budget for tree trimming. So I need to look and see, once I get there, and partner with the new majority, which will be elected because there will be 3 new members, what we're going to do about our infrastructure, including our sewer system. Thank you.
Mr. Patnick.
I think we got to go back to the drawing board and see the $137 million that are earmarked from a budget standpoint, and see that whether some of the CIP, capital improvement projects, are really necessary. And then the sewer system we have to modernize is not just going to happen in a few months. It's going to probably take a few years to do it. And I think by looking at those numbers carefully, trying to see if there is something that is not necessary, I think we can reallocate those numbers back to the sewer system as such. Then we should also look at the state to see if we can get any grants as such. So that's going to be my position when I get elected to City Council. Thank you.
Ms. Hong.
Well, this is what I can do in place because I have the experience in running my own business since 1990, and I run a very successful business. I understand the budgeting, and I know how to look into the budgeting. This is very important because our city need to generate new sales revenue. We cannot just rely on. Of course, we're doing well with the Auto Square, with Los Cerritos Mall, but like we were talking about, we have to have a vision to come out with better plans for the empty land that we have, like Sears. That's a gold mile. We have to think about a very, very good plan for that. And we also have to get a grant. And secondly, I have the privilege to see all the budget book as a planning commissioner every year. So I kind of knowing how they do the planning about the budgeting. And I would, if elected, I would work with all my city, my colleagues, and also with the city managers to figure out how we're gonna do the budgeting thing. Thank you.
Thank you to the audience for your questions, but we've run out of time now for audience questions, and we will move to the candidates' closing remarks. We will go in the reverse order of the opening remarks, starting with Mr. Pavone.
Thank you very much for being here this evening. I want to thank each one of you and your families and those of you watching. Tonight, you have a very, very important decision to make regarding the future of Cerritos. I am ready for transformation. I am ready for change. I am ready for improvement. I'm ready to hear your voice and make your voice heard. I am the right choice to have your voice heard. If you want proven leadership and experience, over 30 years licensed financial management experience, vote for Rocky Pavone. If you want to secure your home and your business, which I've been a business owner for the past 33 years, and also been married for 33 years and lived in Cerritos for 40 years. You want to increase the quality of your life and improve your life. I love pickleball. I think we should invest a little bit into pickleball. Balance the city budget. Make our seniors happy. They've lived their entire lives, working. Now it's important that they enjoy their golden years. Financial transparency and stability. Once again, the book that Polito had shown right now, it's about this thick. And once again, for the average resident or even council member to understand it, it's not very easy. So once again, with my financial experience, I can bring that to the city and I can give you more than you could ever do for me. So thank you very much for your vote. I'm honored to have your support. Please tell all your friends and neighbors, vote Rocky Pavone. Thank you very much.
Ms. Hong?
I would like to thank everybody for tonight's discussion. It's very important that we always have to get together and have a discussion. Tonight, I was able to share some of my views of how to get together and work together. We can make Cerritos better. This is very important. I promise that I will be your advocate and I will be your voice because I will promise to listen to you and fight for your needs. Together, I believe we will increase public safety, maintain finance transparency, work to develop our staff, and we will continue to improve the quality for the life of all residents. I promise to be accessible to make sure that your voice are heard. With all my experience, and I am confident I'll be able to serve you as well as your next city councilwoman. I humbly ask for your support. And my name is Jennifer Hong. I'm the number 2 on the ballot. Thank you for your support.
Mr. Patnack?
Thank you again for coming, and thank you for the staff for organizing this. My platform has been safety, safety, and safety. I'm going to be your guy. I'm going to be your watch captain. My phone is always on, 24/7. Anything happens, call me. And I have a thorough understanding as far as the abatement of theft is concerned. I've had several meetings with the captain and with the chief security officer as such. So, and the other thing is, I'm a guy that will work with anybody, both sides of the aisle. I'm a team player. I understand the how the functions of the city works. I understand the sentiments of the residents. And I urge you to please look at my resume, look at my background, look at my bio, and look what I have done for the last 15 years as a commissioner for the city of Cerritos. I do serve on the college board. I have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens. I humbly ask for your vote. Please vote for me, Pat Patnaik, starting tomorrow, actually. Thank you again.
Mr. Polito.
Thank you, Toby, and thank you to the AAUW, and to all of the residents who have come here tonight to participate in democracy. Most especially, I want to just commend my fellow candidates. This is really one of those moments where I feel proud about our hometown, where we could come together and discuss the importance issues that, touch all of our lives. And then we get to vote. As Pat was saying, the ballots start arriving tomorrow. So I hope that you'll be able to take look at each and every one of us, encourage your neighbors to ask questions, because a number of us are going to be coming to your doors. And I'm looking forward to having those conversations. I'm looking forward to talking and also listening, especially listening, because I think that's the best way that our elected leaders can make effective and good public policy, is to listen to the residents and then vote after taking a hard look at the facts. And I just want to say thank you, because the 2 terms that I was able to serve on the city council from 2011 to 2020 were really just a wonderful time in my life to give back to my hometown of 52 years with gratitude. And I hope that with your support, I could come back and continue to help build Cerritos for the future, for our next generations of Cerritos residents. Thank you.
Mr. Nguyen.
First, I'd like to thank AAUW and the residents here and watching. As you can clearly see, I'm not a politician. I'm just an IT guy. I'm just an IT guy dipping my toe into politics because I think I have something to offer the city with my 30 years working with the city. We work in the background. We just roll our sleeves up and solve the problem when we have the problem. So if given a chance, I want to roll up my sleeve and represent you as your voice that you deserve. And this is me. This is how I am at City Hall. Thank you.
Mr. Ayub.
Well, thanks to everyone for coming out. Thanks to AAUW. It's been an amazing journey. My first time running for public office. I am a newcomer to politics. I am a outsider. I haven't been on any committees, commissions, been a political candidate. And I don't care for politics. I just love people. I'm inspired by my parents who raised me. My philosophy is embedded in AAUBism, which is diversity, inclusivity, coupled with meritocracy and safety. So I like to take ideas from both sides. And I'm the only Middle Eastern or Latino candidate. I believe I love all peoples, but I go to bed dreaming every day of representing people who've never had representation. Or just for everyone, young people who, a lot of my friends have left Cerritos, they feel like they haven't had a plan for them. So I'm running for, again, faith, family, and future. And if I'm for new, fresh ideas, but old-time values is very important to me. So if any of that resonates with you, please choose Ayub.
Mr. Surti.
I represent a true success story for Cerritos. I bought my first restaurant when I was 18 years old. It was a Kentucky Fried Chicken and artisan carmenita. And nothing came easy for me in my life, I had parents that loved me, that supported me. I'm very grateful for that. I think that's a big advantage I had. And I also grew up in Cerritos. My kids grew up in Cerritos. I went to all the school systems, ABC school systems in Cerritos, so do my kids. And now I own a very prolific health and wellness company in Cerritos. It's done well, okay, and I'm not doing this for any personal glory to run for Cerritos City Council. I really want to make impact in the city. I want to make impact in resolving some of the challenges Cerritos is having, especially with the infrastructure, especially with the crime, especially with some of the businesses that need help, and also I want to improve the quality of life. And the last thing I want to mention to you is that I do have bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats, and I have support from different organizations, and I ask for your vote, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
If you have friends who missed tonight's forum and want to know more about the candidates, they can watch a rebroadcast at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 5th, 7 p.m. on Saturday, February 8th, 11 a.m. on Monday, February 10th, and 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 11th. It will also be available on the video archive of the city's website. Thank you to the candidates for participating in this evening's forum and those who have attended in person. Thank you also to the City of Cerritos and the Cerritos City Council for allowing us to use this facility and for sponsoring this live broadcast. To everyone watching, in person or at home, be sure to vote by March 4th by mailing your vote by mail ballot, using a drop box located at the Cerritos Senior Center Plaza or Cerritos Park East, or in person at the office of the Cerritos City Clerk. Check your official sample ballot and information guide for detailed information or visit the city website. Remember, every vote counts. Now you can applaud.